Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Tuesday as you are listening to the show. We, of course, have pre-recorded our conversation on the Zoom screen. We are recording on somewhat of a dreary Sunday morning, so I am especially happy that my guest, Ryanne Hodson from Luray Modern, has agreed to meet up with me on the Zoom on a weekend morning. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your morning to chat with me today.
Hi, Janet. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the farmhouse, because that's how I originally discovered you. And then Edie kind of filled me in on some other details that I know we're going to talk about. So you have a couple of properties that are Airbnbs in Luray in Page County. Tell me about the farmhouse first.
So, as your listeners might know, that Page County is considered the cabin capital of Virginia. So my husband and I we moved to Page County in 2008, and we had a neighbor who was doing a little cabin in essentially her side yard. She had an extra a guest cabin, and we were like, what is this business? And there were other people in our neighborhood who had short-term rentals. And we just thought, wow, what a cool business to, number one, obviously make money, but to introduce people to this area. We moved here and we were kind of telling all our friends, and we moved here from San Francisco. We were telling all our friends in San Francisco and New York, like, you cannot believe this place. It's so gorgeous. And so we thought, if all these other people can do this, we can figure out how to do it. And we were searching and searching for a place to buy. It was 2011, so it was right after the crash. So it was hard to get a loan. The market was weird. And we came across this listing for this brick farmhouse on almost 2 acres of land. And we have been looking and looking at different houses and had some fall through that we tried to buy. And we found this house and we were like, this is such a gorgeous property. It's right near Lake Arrowhead. It's kind of a small house. It's under 1,200 square feet, but the back half of it was built in, I think, 1850. And then the front half was kind of like added on in the 20s. But it had all the original wood and the original brick, obviously. And we just were like, this is an amazing property and we would love to share it with other people. So it actually took us many, many years. It took us 3 years to renovate it, only because we were stopping and starting and like raising money from our other businesses and trying to renovate it. Honestly, just us and one other person. Finally, in 2014, we were able to put it up on Airbnb. We took photos, we fully furnished it. Like, it's not, anyone who runs a vacation rental knows it's not just like flipping a house, like putting new flooring in. It's like, you have to fully furnish it, take photos, write a listing, become a marketing professional, basically. So I remember the day we put the listing up, and within 24 hours, we got a booking for someone who was getting married in Luray. And I just started crying. I was just like, this is exactly what we were hoping for, to make a special place where someone, like our first booking was someone getting married, taking their wedding photos out in the yard. I lost it. I was like, okay, this actually worked. This is a thing that we can do. So that's what started everything, basically.
But that kind of sets a high bar because, I mean, then you're thinking this is how all of them are probably going to be. And I'm sure that probably wasn't the case either.
Right. Well, I mean, the good thing was, honestly, the next property that we purchased, we renovated it much faster because we had learned a lot of lessons. It was still a ton of work. Like any property that you're going to buy anywhere, honestly, it's never going to be perfect unless you're paying like top dollar for it to be totally turnkey. So every property we've ever looked at, we're like, well, we want to make it special. It's already special in certain ways, but we want it to be honestly the best. Like, it's got to be the best. Every little amenity has to be there for people who are traveling. Like the people who came to one of our rentals yesterday, they drove from New Jersey, but they're originally from London. So it's sort of like, yeah, I want a special experience for them in Luray. Like, I want them to remember it forever. So that's where all the hard work comes in. That's why you do the hard work, right?
Well, and that leads me to two separate questions. So first of all, I think during the pandemic, we watched way too much HGTV, and they make it look way too easy in all of these renovation projects. It really is a lot more blood, sweat, and tears than what you see in 30 or 60 minutes on the television screen.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's so funny. We always joke about HGTV because we find that people with short-term rentals or with flipping, like, we're obsessed with the real estate market in Page County. Like, I look at everything that comes up on the market just to see what are the prices, what's being, I mean, right now, after, like during the pandemic and after, I guess, hopefully you're listening to this in the future when it's over. But, the market's just gone crazy in this area. And I think it is a lot to do with HGTV, honestly, because you see Flip or Flop or whatever those should, Hometown. And yeah, they do such an amazing job. And like, all of us are inspired by people like that. But a lot of those people have capital. And that's part of it, is like, where are you getting the money and where are you getting the resources and the labor? Those are the biggest, sticking points where you're just like, how am I getting this done? And that's why the farmhouse honestly took us 3 years, because we were just working, paying off, whatever, buying flooring, buying plumbing, paying for a window to get cut in this like 3 brick thick like wall. But I think if you're really committed, it's worth it. I think that, number one, owning real estate is an amazing asset. And if you can own real estate and use it to pay your bills and not just live in it, that's amazing. And so the short-term rental market, I think, is an amazing opportunity for that. And, we've tried to make our rentals so that people in other places will see what's possible. Not just like, stay here and pay me to stay here. But part of what I wanted to do was to show people that you can come to a rural community, afford the real estate, and make a really special place. Like, you don't have to be in Manhattan. You don't have to be in San Francisco. Like, I can't afford those places anyway. That's why we moved here, because we were living in San Francisco and the rent was just out of control. And that was in 2007. Now it's 5 times worse.
Well, and the other part of my question too is, you mentioned amenities. It's not like you're redoing this farmhouse for you and your husband to live in and to have this family. You have to have other things that people come for, an experience more so sometimes than just a place to sleep. So you've got to figure out what the amenities are and add those in to the actual physical renovations as well.
Right. And that goes along with furnishing. So furnishing, amenities, thinking about what they want. Yesterday, we were just talking about how gorgeous it was out yesterday. And I was power washing and restaining all the outdoor furniture for all the rentals. It was like, this is my Saturday. Okay. but you're thinking, oh, they want a little fire pit out in the yard. Okay, we need chairs for that. I have a fire pit out in my yard, and it's like, it's not as nice as one of my rentals, because you want people to feel like they're at a place that no one lives at, which is, to me, the key. I've stayed in Airbnbs in cities or wherever, and you're at someone's apartment and all their stuff is either shoved in the closet or whatever. Like, that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is creating a place that feels like no one's ever been there and no one has ever left all their junk out or their dirty laundry, or like, you come to my house and you see those things, but you're not going to see those things in a vacation rental. And you really want people to feel at home at the same time. So, bedside lights, and now you need outlets and charging stations everywhere for every single room. Forever we would go places that didn't have that, and you're like, this is the most basic thing. I have these now, like, LED lights on the side of the bed that have a USB plug in them. It took me so long to find those because they didn't exist forever. So I bought like 10 of them, and just like every single bedside has them. So it's things like that you're like, you want people to come and say, oh, they thought of everything, which you don't figure out right away, but it can take, several months or several years to say, oh yeah, that would be nice to have that there. It also helps to have friends and family stay at your places and tell you what you need.
Yeah.
Before we ever open it up to the public, we are like, okay, family, come stay here and tell me what I'm missing. Go cook in the kitchen, tell me what I'm missing, because we don't live there. So we need that outside perspective to say, oh, I needed these like barbecue tongs. And you're like, oh yeah, of course.
It's all the little stuff.
We also asked our guests, which can sometimes be insanely annoying, but we asked them, what could we do better? What were we missing? And sometimes people are really, really picky with stuff that you're like, okay, that's a little bit too much, but
that wasn't my brand of whatever.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, you know what?
Yeah, go to the grocery store. Yeah, people have had good suggestions. Oh, we want like a doggy bowl outside. And you're like, oh yeah, that's a great suggestion. I'm going to have that every time now.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that as an example, because we got puppies during the pandemic, and I have never had a dog before in my life. And since those puppies came into this house in October, I have thought about things that never would have occurred to me before. Even talking to guests about events, I'm suddenly finding myself asking, is it pet friendly? That I probably never would have thought of before because I'd never had a dog and it didn't occur to me. So there really are all of these things that you have to take into consideration, whether you have personal experience with them or not.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And all our rentals, we allow dogs, because people now, like you said, their dogs are their kids, like their pets are their kids, which is the case for us. We have cats. So the funny thing is, with dog owners, we're always like, what do you need? What do you want? Because I know your dogs are special and they're here to be outside. So tell me what you need. So we're very accommodating to dog owners.
Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I know we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is coffee. So before we go to break, can you tell me where people can get information about the farmhouse and about your rental properties, your short-term rental properties, so they can go look you up and maybe book a stay?
Sure. You can find our rentals on luray.modern.com. That just links right to our Airbnb profile. So you can see we have 3 vacation rentals, and they're right there.
And you're on social media as well, so they can find you there?
Yeah, I'm mostly on Instagram, so you can find me Luray Modern on Instagram.
All right. Well, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Ryanne Hodson. Only now we're going to talk about coffee, because I am very excited for her to tell you and me about what is coming to Main Street in downtown Luray. So we're going to do all of that here on Tourism Tuesday. Again, we have pre-recorded our conversation on a Sunday morning, regardless of which we're still going to be back in just a couple of minutes.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a quick money chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Tuesday, Tourism Tuesday, no less. As you are listening to the show today, we, of course, have pre-recorded our conversation on the Zoom screen on a Sunday morning, and we are chatting with Ryanne Hodson. She is with Luray Modern. That's what we talked about kind of in the first segment. We talked about her short-term rental properties, and you can get more information at luraymodern.com. But we're going to switch gears a little bit because Ever the Entrepreneur, from what I understand, Ryanne is opening a coffee shop in downtown Luray on Main Street. Give me the details.
Okay, my husband and I bought a building on Main Street in Luray, 20 West Main Street. It used to be a bike shop. It used to be the Hawksbill Bicycles. So if anyone's familiar with that building, we wanted to do something on Main Street. So we love Luray. We wanted to do something cool that had something to do with food. We didn't know. And we started up top. We renovated an Airbnb up top. So there's a 3-bedroom apartment on the top of it's gorgeous. It has like beautiful white oak floors from the 1930s. It's amazing. I'm like, what is this apartment? We toured the building and we were like, there's a huge apartment upstairs. You just don't even notice from the ground. So we love the building. We've always loved the building. And we were originally actually going to do a co-working space downstairs, and we were hanging out downstairs one day and we thought, you know what, this would make a beautiful coffee shop. It's got these huge south facing windows. It's got, like I said, gorgeous original oak floors. It overlooks the Hawksbill Creek. We wanted to build a deck on the back so you could hang out and drink coffee back there. But we were like, we don't know anything about running food or coffee. I don't know. I honestly did not know anything about coffee. I knew that I like to drink lattes sometimes, like I didn't know anything about the coffee world. So we started actually thinking, well, how are we going to do this? We need to find someone who knows something about coffee, and we need to have them consult with us. So we started going around to like every coffee shop in the area, and we went down to Harrisonburg one day and we were looking on Google Maps and we were like, oh, there's a little coffee shop in the Agora downtown market called Porch Coffee. So we went in, and one of the owners, Phil, was working, and we just started asking him all these questions. He was so funny because he's like, who are these people? And we were just like, how did you get started? How did you know, like, they roast their own coffee? How did you know how to do that? Like, we just were like, what is this world? And Phil just talked to us, and we started going down basically every week. It was kind of hilarious. We would go in and be like, is Phil here? We want to talk to him.
We have more questions. And you pull out this list of everything.
Not a joke. And I mean, of course, the reason why we were like so enamored with him and his partner, Jill, they made the best coffee. I have traveled around the world several times for our video production work, and this was the best coffee I've ever had. I've lived in New York City. I've lived in Boston. I've lived in San Francisco. I was like, this is the best cup of coffee I have had. Like anywhere, because they roast their own coffee, and he's obsessed with the precision of the espresso, and and we were like, who are these people in Harrisonburg? So we started talking to them, and we were like, we want you to consult on this space. Like, come up, tell us, where will we put the bar? Where is seating? What kind of equipment do we need? Just tell us what we need to do. We'll hire you to tell us what we need to do. And then Jay and I were just talking. We were like, I wonder if they would be partners with us. Like, I wonder if they would run this cafe and we didn't know how it would work. And so we started talking to them more and more. And we were like, do you guys want to open a cafe in that space? And they just kind of looked at us and they were like, yeah.
They had probably been talking themselves. Yeah, it would be really
Maybe.
nice to do that, but we can't step on their toes, or we don't want to be too forward and ask. And then all of a sudden it just comes together.
Right. So, I mean, they are very experienced. They've been running their cafe in Harrisonburg for, I think it's been 4 years now. So they know what they're doing. And we wanted to help expand their business and help bring something really cool to Luray. So we expanded the roastery first. They were roasting on this tiny little roast, literally like small. It looks like almost like a little toy train. It's adorable. And they did a lot. I mean, they ran their whole business on it. And so we actually bought a building downtown. It was just a garage. And we turned it into a roastery. So we bought a big roaster that's much bigger. It's like the size of a small car.
Yeah, those things are a lot bigger than people think they are.
They're
I have a friend of mine has a coffee shop over in Berryville, Brandon at Cordial Coffee, and he has a roaster in the door when you walk in the lobby. And that thing is ginormous.
Large. Yeah, you need room. And it's run on electricity and gas. So you have to run it. We have a propane tank, or you run a gas line. So all these things, we just started, we were like, we don't know what we're doing. We're going to ask Phil and Jill what to do, and we'll figure it out as we go along. We bought a roaster, we installed it, we figured out how to use it together. And so we're slowly building the coffee shop as well at the same time. So we built the roastery to build capacity. It was like, let's be able to roast a lot more for both cafes and for wholesale and retail online. Because of the pandemic, they sort of pivoted and they were like, okay, you can still buy our beans, pick them up or order them online. So the online sales have been amazing. And we roast everything ever since September 2020. We roast everything in Luray. A year and a half ago, I knew nothing about coffee, and now I'm the second roaster. So I roast 2 days a week. Yeah. So it's been a fast education, but I just sat with Phil every time he roasted for 3 months. I took a class. Phil and I took a class together. I got certified as a Arabica Q grader, which means you basically are a professional coffee taster.
Which know your beans.
Yeah, which sounds crazy. You're like, that's a thing, but it's a week-long test. It's a week-long test. It's 22 tests that you have to pass. You have to pass every single one of them.
Now, is it like sampling, like they do at wine tastings and stuff? You have to taste it and be able to, oh my God, I totally want to do that for a living.
It's like wine. It's a lot like when I tell people about coffee, I'm like, it's a lot like wine tasting. Wine tasting has tasting notes. It tastes like this. It tastes like this. Those things aren't actually in the wine, but because it's such a complex fruit and the process is complex, it brings out all these flavors and the body and things like coffee's the same way. So there are people who are like sommeliers of coffee. So you taste a coffee and you're like, you have like a clipboard and you take all these notes and you score it. So for some reason, that was very appealing to me. I was like, this is so cool. I'm going to go ahead and do the hardest thing possible and take a week-long test. And I actually passed it right before the pandemic. So to me, that was a way to educate myself really fast. It was like, how can I get to know like the top of like specialty coffee really fast? It was hard. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, like academically. I was like, this is exhausting, but I passed. I couldn't believe I passed. I was like, I can't believe I did this. I am now a Q grader. So that really helped me understand roasting and to understand the business of coffee on a different level so that I could help become part of this company and understand like what Phil and Jill were talking about. There are so many times where I was like, I don't know what that is, but I know that this coffee tastes good and I want it in Luray.
You get back to the car and you're Googling what it was they said.
Exactly.
So that you can
Exactly. So the beautiful thing is that we were able to educate ourselves and collaborate quite quickly. And the pandemic, I mean, because retail was shut down for so long, like we could really get the roastery up and running. I mean, there were a lot of delays. I mean, trying to order things from Lowe's and Home Depot is like a nightmare. Still like with the cafe, we're like still waiting. We're not open yet, but we're still waiting for things to like come in the mail.
So what
But
is the name of the cafe going to be?
it is Broad Porch Coffee. So it is Broad Porch Coffee Co. It's 20 West Main Street in Luray. We are almost open. We are so close to being open. I think we're going to have a few soft openings and little events here and there before we open, but it's less than a month away to being open. It's just, all the delays you could possibly think of with a pandemic are happening. So we're slowly just like, one day we'll just open the doors and be like, we're open.
I think that's awesome. I'm less than a month away from my vaccine. So I am over the moon that, yes, that may be the first thing I do when I am completely cleared to be in public.
And that's been part of it too, where we're like, what are we allowed to do? What's our seating look like? Dealing with the health department. We can't have bar seating. We built a bar. We have to put that seating away for now, which is fine. So trying to navigate those things has been hard, but we're working through it and we're going to get open soon. So it's, Broad Porch Coffee. We've been having an amazing time learning all about the coffee world and being taught by two people who obviously know what they're doing.
So if somebody wants to know when all of that happens, do you already have your social media networks? Do you already have a website? How can they kind of stay up to date on what's going on and when you open the doors?
Yep. So the website is broadporchcoffee.com, and you can actually order our coffee. And if you live in Luray, you can pick it up from our roastery. And if you live in Harrisonburg, you can pick it up at Agora. You can also drink coffee at Agora in Harrisonburg. So you can actually go and get our coffee. We have an Instagram, Broad Porch Luray. The original one is Broad Porch Coffee Co. So we have two different Instagrams that you can follow. You can follow the progress of Luray on Broad Porch Luray. And you'll know, trust me, everyone will know when we're opening. We're going to post it everywhere.
I'm going to post it everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Look.
It'll be very, like, everyone asks, when are you opening? When are you opening? I'm like, trust me, you will know. Don't worry.
Well, Ryanne, thank you so much. This has been such a fun conversation, and I am so excited for the coffee shop to open. And, Luray is one of those places too, where I'm here in Middletown. If I want to just get a weekend away, that's like the perfect thing, to be just far enough away from my house that I'm not thinking about what's going on here, but I'm still away from everything that is going on here. So you may see me, come up on your guest list at some point.
We would love to have you. We'd love to have anyone come visit Luray. We love it here. It's beautiful.
So LurayModern.com is the best place to start if they want to know anything about the short-term rentals. And then Instagram, Broad Porch Luray, is the best place to know when everything is happening as it happens.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, we are going to wrap up our conversation today with Ryanne Hodson. She is the owner at Luray Modern and Broad Porch Coffee Company in Luray. I will be back tomorrow. It is the Valley Business Today. I am having a conversation with Patrick Barker from the Frederick County EDA. So meet me back here for that just a few minutes after noon.